What is up, everybody, and good morning, and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a quick guide on Magik, just so you feel a little bit more confident going into games with her, whether that be ranked, whether that be the casual play, because I've heard a lot of people that don't really understand what this character is capable of doing, don't really understand her damage, her kit. She just feels slow, sluggish, and I feel like most of the people that I've seen pick up this character put her down almost immediately. So we're going to go through her basic abilities here, and hopefully this helps you out a little bit. So starting off with her left click, her basic attack, it's just something like this. Very slow animation, does damage, pretty simple, pretty long range as well. So you can hit people from like all the way back here, which is very, very nice. You don't have to be super close to a target. Yeah, but the main thing about her auto attack that makes people dislike this character is that it's so slow, but you can actually animation cancel it with any of your abilities, with varying degrees of success. So if you start your auto attack animation, you press your melee, you can do it as quick as that. Like it's very, very quick. Like I barely did the animation there. So bam, like that. And auto, spam your melee. Don't spam it, but make sure it goes off. So that's a very good way to cancel your auto attack. You can also do the same thing with E. So there I hit twice, and you can do that right after another. You can do the same thing with your right click, but the right click doesn't cancel it in a super good way, so maybe avoid doing that one. Probably the worst one of the three. Her right click is it throws a thing. You can charge it up too for a little bit of extra damage. Doesn't do a crazy amount of extra damage, but it does. Usually this is kind of just your poke tool. Just throw things at targets. I have no cooldowns right now, so this would actually have a cooldown, but you get the idea. There is no headshot modifier on this too, so it doesn't matter where you hit them. Same damage from the body, same damage in the head. Her second basic ability that we're going to go over is her left shift. So this is her blink ability that you've probably seen people do. It gives you a brief like immortality when you're in it, because you're not on the map. You can see that I'm not on the map at all there. It is also directional as well. So you can dash forward, you can dash like left if you just hold left, and then you can like dash. You can even dash backwards, which is really, really nice to have that sort of freedom. I guess the damage component of her left shift is her whirl or her choices that you have. But before we get into that, I guess we'll just talk about the timer on her left shift too. So as you can see over on the right side of my screen, there's like it says Demon's Rage, and then there's a countdown. You do have 2 charges of your left shift, but you can't use both of them immediately after one another. So if I use left shift and I keep spamming it, I can't use it again until that timer is done. So I left shift, wait for the timer, I can't use it, timer's done, I can use it. So just keep that in mind when you're going into fights. If you go in and realize that you've made a horrible mistake, you need to use something like your E to get out of there, because your left shift will be unavailable to you. Okay, getting back into the left shift actual damage components. So when you left shift, you do have 2 choices, as you saw on my screen. You have your left click or your right click. Your left click is this quick spin. So you just left shift, left click, boom, you do your spin. Good way to start a combo, good way to get in there. Gives you that brief second of immortality where you can get onto a target and start rocking and rolling. Your right click part of it is just you summon a little demon. He attacks targets in front of him. His range is a little bit bigger, and he can cleave in your ultimate form. I don't use that one a whole lot just because it feels like it just sits there and attacks air most of the time. So my favorite is just kind of going in and getting a little bit of a spin off, getting some cleave. It also is good to stack your passive, which we will go into next. All of Magik's damage will give her like an overshield. So that is her passive ability. So as you can see, I'm at 295 health. If I whack this bot, 310. If I right click him, if I melee him, if I E him, I'm building overshield, doing all of those different things. So anything that I do to any target will build shield. And that's why the whirl is so important too. If there's 4 targets here or something like that, you can go in here, start hitting targets, and suddenly you're pretty tanky. You start at 250 health, but you would be at over 300 if you're hitting like 4 targets, something like that. So much harder to kill, and that's a huge part of her kit, is just doing damage, getting a little bit beefier so that people can't just turn and one-shot you. The last basic ability that we're going to go over is her E. So she just does this short dash and an uppercut, good at setting up into like auto attacks, into melee attacks, that sort of thing. And this, similar to her left shift, is actually directional as well. So you can use it straight forward, you can use it up, you can use it down, you can use it, something like that. But you do have to be facing the direction, unlike her left shift, where you can not be facing the direction and still dash backwards, that sort of thing. So that's all of her basic abilities and her passive. Let's go into her ultimate. So her ultimate basically just augments all of her abilities that we just went over, so they will get like an extra little effect. So we're going to activate our ultimate here, and our left click was just that single slash. It does like a triple slash when you hit targets. It feels like the hitbox is much more forgiving as well when you're doing that. And you also cannot melee cancel with it too. So if I go into my ultimate and I'm meleeing, I just have to left click. I cannot melee cancel any of those auto attacks, which is probably for the best because this character would do a ridiculous amount of damage if that was the case. So that's her ultimate auto attack. Her ultimate left shift into combo is just a whirl that hits 3 times instead of 1, and then she'll do this, and her demon, you summon your demon, he does do a little bit more damage, has a little bit more range, but again, I prefer to use the whirl just because it does so much more consistent damage. Her right click in her demon form, you charge it up and does a ton of damage, so just hits really hard. Good way to start off a fight too. You can pop this from around a corner, charge something up, peek around the corner, and then just start getting into the fight. Her E in ultimate doesn't really change at all. It's the same sort of thing. Nothing too special about that, but you're still doing more damage in ultimate form, so that's always good. Okay, so now that we understand all the basic abilities and what you can do with those, let's get into just some simple sort of combos. So I mentioned that you want to throw out these right clicks from range. Just use your little range attack. That's definitely a good thing to do. And we want to keep in mind that we don't ever really want to use like a full auto attack animation, so canceling those when possible. So something I've seen people do is, if you start in melee range even, you get an auto attack, you can auto E, auto melee. So left click E, left click melee. I actually just cancel. I didn't even do the auto attack, but left click E, left click melee, and that'll kill squishy targets very, very easily. Another way you can start the combo is just going out here and left shifting in to whirling, uppercut, and then you would melee. Obviously, you'd hit that afterwards. Something when I was playing around with this character in practice tool is that, so if you use it from like the perfect range or something like that, you can do this and whirl and hit that. But if that wasn't even the perfect range. But if I'm a little bit too close and I use that combo, you do kind of get like carried through the target for some reason some of the time. So be careful with that. Make sure just because they're knocked up doesn't mean you're guaranteed all of those hits. So just make sure you're whirling, knocking up, melee, canceling your auto attack with the melee, and that will kill a lot of squishy targets. And as you can see, I did build a lot of shield just with that combo as well. The other thing to mention is that when you do that and you left shift, so we covered earlier that there's a time limit that you can't left shift again after you left shift the first time. If you do that full combo, you'll have it up again. So if you left shift, go in there, get rocking and rolling, kill the target, that timer is gone, so I can left shift immediately out. I don't have to wait for anything like that. So just be prepared that when you do a combo like that, you are pretty much in there. Your left shift doesn't go that far, so when you're using your whole kind of kit to kill somebody, you are using this, you're using this. You won't have your dash available. You won't have your E, which is a much longer range and it gets you out pretty quick. You'll just have your left shift. So make sure that you have an escape plan in mind every time that you go in. But those are just some quick combos. I'm sure there's more advanced things that you can do on this character, but that's the basics. I hope it helped you guys feel a little bit more comfortable taking this into PvP matches. Let me know how it goes, and let me know which guides you want to see next. Everyone have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.